Okay, again, so my name is Katie Bush Wilson. I am the Computer Science Program Manager at the Idaho STEM Action Center. And I am kind of your contact in this next week or so moving forward around Hour of Code and CS Education Week. My email, oh, can you guys, yes. Do you guys see the computer? You see my slides, correct? Is that correct?
Yes, we do.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. I just, the green square around it went away that, you know, you see when you're zooming, but my email is on the screen, as well as you all got an email from me. Feel free to reach out with any questions going into this next week. Some of you have already started receiving emails from me with placement, kind of where you'll be with times, and you'll get, the rest of you will be getting those hopefully by the end of the day today. So kind of timeline on that. So first off, I want to send a huge thank you to all of you, all of your companies, all of your employers for taking time to come and kind of code alongside kids next week. I know this has been a big lift, and for a lot of you probably having to rework some of your schedules. So I just want to first give a huge shout out and thank you for that. This hopefully will be really meaningful for the educators in the classrooms and the kids that you guys work with, and hopefully some connections are made. So that's just my first huge thank you. So just a little bit of overview. Some of you may know this, some of you may not. This is our 10th year of doing Hour of Code within CS Education Week. The Idaho STEM Action Center jumped onto this when we were originated and started working with kind of the state of Idaho. Governor Butch Otter at the time went out and would code alongside kids, and now Governor Little has taken on that role. And so every week, CS Education Week is proclaimed. He signs a proclamation that for the state of Idaho, that week is Computer Science Education Week. And so that is the 5th through the 11th this year. So next Monday through the following Sunday, but really our big push will be the 5th through the 9th. Really, the goal of this week is just to increase awareness and interest, ideally within computer science. So some of the classes you're going into, the educator will be really into computer science. They integrate it into their classes all the time. It's kind of going to be a norm. Some of the classes, this may be the only time kids see anything like this throughout the whole school year. An educator chooses to participate in this, does kind of this one and done computer science thing. So there's going to be a variety of different environments that you may be going into. So just be aware of that. But the idea is hopefully to pique some interest and to help build kind of that pipeline of kids early into this realm of computer science and STEM education. So when you arrive at a school, just some things to keep in mind, because I know some of you probably haven't been in a school since you were in high school, which makes total sense. And so things have changed some or haven't changed depending upon the last time you were there. So first, I would encourage you, if you have some kind of company swag, so if you have like a Micron shirt or a Cradle Point shirt or something like that, I'd encourage you to wear that. Because we want to make sure that the school folks know where you're coming from, as well as the teacher and the students and that kind of thing. So I'd encourage you to do that. If you don't, that's completely fine as well. But feel free to do that if you do. When you show up at the school, make sure you bring your ID in. If you're like me, I leave my purse in my car half the time. I know it's not the most secure thing to do, but I do, which means my ID stays in my car as well. So make sure you bring that, because some schools will require you to have ID to come in. So please bring that with you. Many schools, you'll have to now buzz into the building. So you'll have to buzz in and then let them know why you're there. And then the office admin will let you in, go to the office and make sure you check in. Some may print off a badge for you. Some might give you a visitor pass. Just make sure you're following those protocols for the schools, so that way they can make sure they're, keeping their school as safe and secure as possible, as well as following their own requirements that they have there. And then at that point, the office will either direct you to where you're going, or, a student aide may take you to where you're going. But at that point, you should be in and good to go. Okay. All right. So when you get into the classes, ideally, Things are going to be pretty set up for you, but there's a possibility that it might not be rolling perfectly, and we'll talk through a scenario on that. But when you get there, please introduce yourself to the teacher. They'll know you're coming. And there should hopefully be an email set up in some capacity, whether it's with the administrator or the actual teacher prior to that. I will send out, I will do that. You have no requirements to like follow up on that email or anything, but just at least you'll have a name to go with for the school. If you plan on taking pictures, we are totally okay with that, but just make sure you confirm with the teacher ahead of time. There will be most likely, well, there's a possibility there might be some kids in there that are like no picture kids that their parents or families have requested them to not be in any kind of picture, any kind of social media, that kind of thing. So make sure you work with the educator of the class or the area you're going into. So you take that into account. We want to make sure we're honoring that. And then just ask the teacher where you can jump in. So she or he might already be rolling when you get there. There might be a little bit of instruction time that they have to set stuff up and then have you jump in. So just kind of ask the teacher what the next step or the game plan is there, and they'll be able to guide you. So a couple of things just so you're prepared on what is to come. So most people, I would say, are probably going to be utilizing code.org's Hour of Code. So we're going to look at that in a second. We also have a resource that's a statewide resource. It's called Learning Blade, and it is a career focused resource. And so some educators may choose to go that route, and we'll look at that as well. And then there's others. So you might be jumping into a classroom that has a pre-developed robotics program, and they're opting to do that during Hour of Code. So just be prepared that there might be some variety in there, but within that, the educator will be able to guide. But I really do think majority of them are going to be leaning heavily on the code.org resource. So if you click on this, and I'll send the slides out and everything, it'll take you to this screen. And then if you scroll down, there's some different things that you guys don't necessarily need to worry about. But, if you want, you can register an Hour of Code. So if you wanted to do that with, the class you're with, you could definitely do that. Kind of talks about it a little bit more, and then it has a try an activity. But just at the very top, there's simply a try it button. And if you click on that, it'll take to numerous activities that you can do. And so depending upon the grade band you're working with, it gives you kind of different pieces up here. So like grades 2 through 5, you can go in here, and then some educators may, say all students now navigate to this, but what my guess is a lot of it's going to be freedom at this point. So they're going to encourage a kid to go find something that might pique their interest and work on that. And so say I'm interested in Hello World, I can click on that and just simply click start. And then it'll kind of takes me through different pieces. So I can just kind of work through it, and it's all navigated. So there's a video that they would play, and then block code that they can work within. And so it kind of walks them through, and then it's simply kind of a drag and drop world. And then on the left is a little run that it will talk them through. So that's how all of the Hour of Code stuff is set up. So it's all kind of self-paced and self-managed. So hopefully that is something you'd feel comfortable with. But if not, that's completely fine too, because an educator will be there, the students will be there, and just work with them on it and just be kind of a guiding light along that. So that's the Hour of Code component. Learning Blade is more of a career focused platform. So every educator in the state of Idaho has a Learning Blade account. So you will not be utilizing Learning Blade in the classroom unless the educator has prior set it up. So this one will be much more of a structured if a teacher is doing this one. And they will have the students going through and looking more at careers that are more computer science focused. But this link kind of takes you to an overview of that. And you could go into like this playlist component, and it's kind of YouTube videos talking about women in computer science. So that would be something you could work through with students as well. And like I said, I will send out these slides, and the links are in there. And then I'll also send out the standalone links as well, so you're not having to dig through the slides to find them. But those are a couple of pieces that educators may go to. And then there's, like I said, the other options. There might be a robotics program that the students are already working on that the teacher might take advantage of. If you're going into a high school, it'll probably be in a computer science class. And so they'll already have like their coding platform that they work within. And so that might be the platform they're working on. IDLA. So if you don't know what IDLA is, it's Idaho Digital Learning Academy. They're the online courses that are offered throughout the state. They have prizes that they are going to be giving out for students. And once I have that link, I will send that to you as well. But I would encourage students to go and fill that out. So at the end of the time you're with them, maybe set aside like the last 10 minutes, encourage them to go in and fill out the prizes. I mean, and they're pretty cool prizes. It's like an iPad and $50 gift certificates to Amazon, and they're pretty cool prizes. And so I'd encourage the kids to go in there and fill those out. There are also ones that you guys can fill out because you will be participating. There's different categories. So there's like a K2, 3, 5, 6, 8, 9, 12, and then just like a general adult category. So you guys could fill those out as well if you would be interested during it. But that's there. So that's kind of the quick overview of kind of what to expect if everything's set up for you. Now, if you get to a class and the educator's kind of like, oh, I thought you were just going to do it, which hopefully should not be the case because a lot of this is being pre-planned and they're expecting you and that kind of thing. Here's kind of a what if go to, I'm not sure what to do with kids. You can simply just have them go to hourofcode.com/US, and that'll take you to that page that we were just looking at for code.org. Just have them go to try it, pick which grade band they're in. So if they're like a kindergarten through first grade, we'd go pre-reader. If they're like grades 2 through 5, so just pick a grade band that they're in, select it, and just have them pick something and start working through it and just code their way through it. It can be that simple. It does not need to be elaborate. It's just the idea, like I said, is more exposure and just getting kids access and exposure to the content. While you're doing this, I'd encourage you to talk to them about your careers, what you do, what your interests are, how you got to the place that you got to. You may have gotten there a non-traditional route. You may have chose to do some kind of a coding boot camp. You may not have a degree in computer science whatsoever. You may, come in from a communications background. Any of those sorts of things, just, talk with kids about what you do, and just give them more exposure to careers and, pathways is kind of a great option there as well. So then you'll get through your hour. During your hour, we would love if you leverage this on your social media platforms. Or if you have like the communications person in your company that you want to send this to so they can do it. We will try and leverage you as well. That is one of our goals of this week. So working together to leverage each other. So if you are putting any of this on social media, please tag us. Our tags are there. Again, I'll send this out and I'll put this in the email so you're not having to dig through slides to access it. But please tag us if you're posting stuff. And then our goal is also to be out at least at every site in some capacity, whether that's through an intern or one of us directly, to also get some pictures and be able to tag as well, because we want to make sure we're leveraging each other during this week. Just a couple of do's and don'ts when it comes to social. Do tag us, like I just said. Also, I would encourage you to tag the school and the school district if you're in a place that you can do that. So like, for example, Boise School District has social media access accounts. And so if you have the ability, I would encourage you to tag as much as you can to make sure we're leveraging everybody. If you're taking pictures of students, I'd encourage you to actually take the pictures of the backs of their heads, or, some a way that you're not getting, complete faces of them. These are minors. So we want to be conscious of that when we're working with it. So definitely backs of heads are great. Or if you have faces, you may think about blurring them out before you post, that kind of thing. And then ask the teacher and students if they're comfortable having their pictures taken prior to actually taking the pictures. And then, like I mentioned, there will be kids that are going to be the like no picture kids or the no social media kids, and the teachers will know who those people are. So just work with the educators or the teacher on that. Another couple don'ts: do not post any student specific data. So like I would even encourage, if you're taking a picture of their screen, if their name is on the screen in any way, try and blur that out. Anything that is like student specific, I would stay away from. We just want to cover all of our bases. And then again, the face thing, make sure there's approval there and that folks are comfortable prior to you taking their pictures. So just some final thoughts. I'm coming to the end here is, I'd really encourage you to try and make some connections at the schools if you're comfortable with that. You know, maybe exchange information with the educator and see if they, you know, if you're comfortable, maybe going back quarterly to talk with students or work with them or their school. I know that, you know, this is a time commitment and that might not be a capacity that you work within, but if you do, that would be wonderful. A personal fulfilling goal would be as if we can make these wonderful connections with industry and schools and you guys can foster this on your own, which you know, that's just kind of I would love if it happened kind of thing. So I would encourage you to do that. Please reach out to me if you have any questions that arise, or if, you know, next week comes and you realize, oh man, my kid has the flu and I really can't go, just let me know if you wouldn't mind. Because then I can make sure I'm, you know, if I need to move people around or coordinate in some other way, I'd really appreciate that. And then again, just thank you. Thank you for giving your time up. Thank you for, you know, supporting these kids, supporting these educators. This is really, really great. And I really appreciate it. So just final thing, if there's any specific questions, like I said, you can either turn your mic on or you can drop it in the chat or you can email me. I'll be emailing out the slides, specific links, kind of the specific tags. And then if questions come up if questions come up, I'll email answers out to those as well. Because I want to make sure that everybody, whether they were here or not, can get the answers that they need. So
I have a question, Katie.
Yeah, what's up?
So will we have a chance to connect with the teacher prior to us going in there and knowing if there's something specific we should be looking over before we go in? Is that
Yeah. So my goal is to have emails out by the end of the day. I'm actually just waiting on the Boise School District Coordinator to get me some times and contacts back. But my goal is to have emails out. And so I'm going to send an email and it'll be, you know, Jimmy, here's your team of industry who will be coming in on Tuesday, December 7th from this time to this time. You know, Garfield Elementary is located at this location. Please feel free to connect about any needs prior to, or so, you know, so I'll send a connecting email prior to. So you should not be walking in blind next week.
perfect?
Yeah. Well, if you don't have any other questions, feel free to hop off or stay on. I'll hang out for a little while. So if you have, specific questions or if you just think something comes up, feel free to let me know. And yeah, I will be sending out assignments by the end of the day today, hopefully, and make sure everybody knows exactly where they're supposed to be going. No, thank you all for coming. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Britta and Martin, do either of you have any specific questions? Or need anything additional?